you force yourself to follow a path, and it doesn't let you dwell too much. It helps you to move along.
Be careful what you wish for, kind of thing. You might really have that control one day.
Hello, and welcome to episode 3 of Play and Ponder with Plotweaver Cards of Creation. Plotweaver is a storytelling game, a creative writing tool, and a thinking exercise all in one. These Play and Ponder sessions are where we use it live, making up stories as we go, and then talk about what comes out of it. I'm Matt Gardner, co-founder of ModHub Cooperative based in Quebec, Canada. I'm a systems thinker and co-designer of Plotweaver. Joining me is ModHub's co-founder, Mariam Shoja, the learning systems designer behind Plotweaver. Over to you, Mariam.
Thanks, Matt. This session has a slightly different shape. We have 3 guests, and Matt is both co-hosting and playing alongside the guests, Emily, Fernando, and Yvonne. That means in this session, 4 stories are going to be created in parallel, following along a plot pattern with 4 acts, the circular plot pattern. Our first storyteller is Emily Morioka, our community lead here at ModHub, leading our legal establishment and community engagement efforts, and currently the vice president of the cooperative. We also hear Fernando Shaw, a senior UX and product designer with a special knack for rapid prototyping and research. He thinks in systems and in people, and he's keen on clear communication and iterative problem solving. Matt, the co-host of This Play and Ponder, will be our third storyteller. And we have Yvonne, a product designer with a background in science and web development. He's driven by curiosity, craft, and the love for problem solving. He creates thoughtful digital experiences with an approach that combines systems thinking, empathy, and hands-on practice. Now let's swing back to August 2024, when this session was recorded, and find out what cards they will draw for Act 1.
So, how are we feeling with that challenge?
I'm doing good.
I'm stressed. I'm so bad at storytelling. But at least we have prompts and things to go for. It's going to be interesting.
Exactly. So it's the initial event or circumstance. So in this one, we get the character, the setting, and the theme. And what we want to do is we want to describe an initial incident that interrupts the protagonist's ordinary life, introduces narrative's themes, and pushes the protagonist into a new direction.
So they're kind of describing that person. For instance, I'm describing the lover, like,
Yeah, develop your character, develop the setting where they are, what's the initial event. The theme could help you with coming up with the initial event that triggers the story.
Yeah, I've got the screens. So.
Okay. Matt, did you start your timer?
This is where we started the timer and going to return.
Before we hear everyone's Act 1, Matt will quickly go through their story element cards. So we know that for this session, we're working with a circular plot pattern, a 4-act plot pattern where the story begins and ends in the same place, tracing a full loop. This plot pattern centers on the themes of repeated cycles, balance, and return to an equilibrium. In Act 1, they'll set the scene for an ordinary life of a character, their habits, routines, and surroundings.
So, to recap, these are the random cards that we drew. Emily got the creator as the character. The setting is a rocky mountainside, and the underlying theme of the story is the pursuit of freedom. Fernando had the lover as the main character on a skyscraper rooftop with rebirth as the central theme. Yvonne got the catalyst in a clinic navigating the theme of hiding and concealing, and I drew the community builder on a countryside farm working with a rags to riches theme.
4 stories, 1 pattern. Let's see where the cycles take them.
So, how did everyone do? Did you want to start first, Emily?
Oh, sure. So I have the creator in a rocky mountainside and the pursuit of freedom. The sun was beating down on her back, but she kept going. It was the 3rd iteration of a prototype she had been working on and felt close to completion. She had created this years ago in the valley, but everyone resisted the creation she was making. She always felt a bit alien in her community of dogma and structure. She craved freedom and dreamt about it ever since she could remember. There was something so odd about the world she was born into. It was like they had been ripped away from something that was so whole and tossed into a world with a rigid regime and rules that made no sense. People were gray. She always knew there was more. She worked hard collecting metal and pieces of scraps and put together what she imagined to be a sculpture of freedom, where at any given point of time you can exist somewhere or at some time different.
Thanks, Emily.
It's really interesting. I'm wondering where this is going. Nando.
So in my case, it was the lover. In the setting, it was a skyscraper rooftop, and then it was about the theme was rebirth. I couldn't really finish what I was trying to do, and the idea was that an outsider, someone that came to the U.S. to study neuroscience, because he craved understanding. It was really hard for him to relate to people and to be able to make himself understood, because he kind of realized that most people do not listen. People simply want to talk. It's more important for people to be able to tell their own stories than to listen to yours. And so he was trying to find a way through all these noise to make himself understood and to really understand what other people were saying. So that kind of through science, he studied neuroscience. He dwelt into software development, created an algorithm that would read people. There are some micro interactions that you have in your face that really hard to read. That when you feel an emotion, like sometimes you feel these kind of emotions even before you know you're feeling them. And this is really weird. I was reading about that some time ago. And then kind of finds the way that you're going to communicate and relate to someone. So the basic idea is that he created something that could read this and ported that into AIs that would help people like in business negotiations and romantic relationships. Everything that he wanted to be able to create those connections that he couldn't make. And that led him to create his empire. That led him to create the Max. What's the name that I gave to the idea? That Mind Max, to create that empire that had a tower that he built on Seattle, 100 stories high, that he liked to go to the top of the tower to think about and to reflect about everything that led him to that point, and even to the fact that he used his technology to try to connect other people and to try connect to someone that we really love it. But the connection was off, wasn't, because then he started to realize that those connections that his company facilitated, they were not real, because people were leaving the connections not for themselves but to the software to guide them on. And then realized that he lost everything that was most important for him, that led him to there to the first place, that was to be able to connect and to be able to understand people. He lost that because he still didn't really understand anyone. And he lost the love of his life, that I tried to give a funny name, but I couldn't, so it was Giovanna. And then she left, and then he's at the top of the roof of his skyscraper with a switch in his hand that he's finishing off making up his mind. And when he clicks his switch, all his servers that supply that software are going to be erased. And his algorithm is going to be erased everywhere. People have to connect naturally again. So that's what he's doing to try. I couldn't finish that part, but he's feeling finally happy and full of hope for the future.
That's awesome.
There's to see where this.
Well, there's 3 more acts to go.
Yeah, you got 2 more acts to finish this.
That's awesome.
Okay, so it was a surprise to find that bag of hundreds and fifties. It was a small fortune. I couldn't wait to tell my partner. She'll be thrilled. We can finally help build the community hall and get the town's spirit moving again. We could do so much good with this, imagine. But we should think about our future. Why did it always come down to our financial futures? The barn needs a new roof and we need a vacation. But if we help build our community, they will build our barn with us. So that's what I've got so far. Okay, so Yvonne.
So the catalyst, I was in a clinic, and my theme was hiding and concealing. Yeah, so I'll just kind of read out what I came up with. Jason is a 35-year-old nurse who helps administer treatments and drugs to patients who walk into the clinic that he works at. Inside the clinic are bright white walls, ceilings, and lights, everything you expect from a clinic, and everything from drug administration to note-taking. Cleaning the floors is done by the book, methodical and impersonal. Oh yeah, it's also 2022, and the entire world is going through a global pandemic. Jason doesn't really believe in it, though. He believes it's all a conspiracy cooked up by the governments and resents all the sheep that come in to get the vaccine. Unfortunately for him, he can't express his opinion publicly as he's seen what happens to people who refuse to take it, and he can't afford to lose his job. However, he believes he can convince people otherwise to not take it and sets out to be the change he wants to see. That's it.
Nice.
All right.
So Yvonne, the hiding or concealing was the fact that the person is going to do that secretly. The
He
anti-vax.
doesn't believe in it, but he's
campaign.
doing it as a nurse because that's his job, and he's gonna figure something.
Oh, okay.
I'm intrigued. All of these I'm really intrigued by. I
Ah.
can't wait to see where this goes.
I hope you enjoyed the first act of the stories. We're always fascinated to hear how the players decide to weave together the story element cards, creating the first threads of meaning and the foundation of the story. Before we hear what happens next, if you're curious, just try Plot Weaver yourself and exercise your creative brain cells. The free starter plan is available on the online platform.
You can explore 2 of the 6 plot patterns and play with the full range of story element card decks that are used in those patterns. The links are in the show notes. Now let's continue and hear what cards we drew to weave into Act 2.
Okay, so with that said, we've got our next bit to go. So that is, we've got Act 2, progression and complication. So what to do in this act? We're going to weave events and elements that allow the protagonist to face new challenges or adversaries, experience growth, and experience renewal cycles. So we're each going to get a twist card. Bum, bum, bum. Emily, you have the doppelganger's influence. The appearance of mirror counterparts influences or manipulates characters' decisions or actions. That's okay. And then we have for Fernando. Actually, this sounds pretty good. And I think it's going in line with your story. Character transformation. So a character undergoes a major transformation in either looks or behavior, affecting their role in the story. Then for me, I've got a symbiotic fusion. Okay, so characters merge or bond with another entity, sharing thoughts, strengths, or weakness temporarily. Okay, that's going to be cool. It's cool. And Yvonne, let's see what you've got. A vanishing act. That might play really well into where your story is going too. So objects, places, or even characters start vanishing from existence, altering the course of events. This is where we started the timer and going to return.
A short pause while our storytellers write their second act. Something worth sitting with at this point in a circular narrative. The second act is where complications arrive with a random twist card. There could be new characters, new pressures, things that push the story off its original path and create a disruption in the balance of the world in the story.
That's what makes this act exciting. The story is moving away from where it started, and we don't yet know how it's going to get back to the beginning. Now, let's hear where the plots take us in the second act.
I think we're at time. Almost.
Awesome. And so we're facing new challenges, experiencing growth, and have themes of repetition and cycles, hopefully. So, Emily, do you want to go first? Yep. Okay, cool. So, back to your story with doppelganger's influence coming in.
Okay. So as the sun was going down, she wrapped up the completion of her project. She used to sneak into her dad's lab where they would make microchips, processors, lasers, and so many things. but no one had access to what they were creating in there. They would get shipped off, never to be seen again. She spent 6 years slowly building up her supply, to then stealthily pack and haul it all up the hillside when she left. She remembers the trial when they determined that her punishment for not following the prescribed order of things would be to leave at once. She was prepared. She left and she went up to the peak where she could be far away from the valley and have access to the sky. As she grabbed a bit of food she had gathered earlier, she heard something rustling in the bushes. It was different than the wild dogs or the small animals she was used to. She looked through the makeshift door and her blood became cold. She saw someone who looked just like herself walking towards her to the lean-to that she resided in. She hadn't seen another person for 3 years. She went through the many layers of grief, fury, and the struggles of isolation. But looking outside and seeing someone who looked like herself was surreal. The woman walked up wearing clothing from the valley. She smiled and made her way in and sat down next to her with a familiar type of charisma and boldness that she knows all too well. I sat in silence. I could not move. She started to talk to me as if I was talking to myself. She would say things like, "In the valley, things are different now. He no longer is in charge. I regret coming up here. I miss my family." It was as if I was talking to myself. She made my head spin. I thought I was hallucinating until I heard clamoring and chaos outside. I ran past her to witness my creation in pieces and people running away. I looked down and packed up the one thing that was intact. I looked over to find her running away with the others.
Okay, so I just want to understand. I is the creator is the person, the first person, right?
Yes.
Okay. And then there's this female character.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And that now she realized that that character is her doppelganger, the creator.
At first, she thought it was like a doppelganger, and she felt like she was hallucinating or something.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
like it was so surreal, but it was just a distraction technique. As she realized the people from the valley came up and destroyed her work.
Okay. And the pursuit of freedom, how are you using that one in the
So she initially left a very cult-like community.
Okay.
She was pursuing freedom, and she was trying to invent something that would essentially help her teleport or time travel or something like that.
That's cool. Just as a reminder, I think it'll help. So we had the lovers, skyscraper. We remember that one. And now, and the theme of rebirth and character transformation is our twist. Ready, Fernando?
Yeah. So before what happens that Bob, it's a great name, Bob. He uses a kill switch to erase his software, right? So now what happens that the kill switch is working perfectly and he can see overlays that will be like implants that tell him what's going on, like access. He sees that everything's being erased. Like his AIs that he has everywhere are being killed off. Like he calls that a digital genocide on planetary scale. And then he's in kind of how do you call it? Heavily, like just watching this unfold in front of him. And then he starts to hear some kind of voice that seems to be coming from the sky. And his voice is telling him, "Bob, what are you doing, man? What's happening there? Come on, get out of there." And then he kind of remembers where he is and recomposes, like gets himself together and gets out of the simulation. His vision goes black for a second, and then he's back in his office, looking to his partner, and his partner's there just looking at him. "Okay, man, what you're doing? We're just doing some research. Okay, let's go. Come on." And he just get up from his chair and he follows his partner because they have to go to some events. He follows him to the elevator, and they had to leave for some function or something. And his partner asked him, "What you're doing there?" And I just researched some ideas, but they didn't really work out. And what happens that he's erasing everything for more than 1,000 times already in the simulation because he doesn't have the courage to go through with it.
That's cool.
So he hasn't wiped it all out.
No,
It's just
No, it's
no. He just
playing with
wants
the
to
idea.
think.
that is so good.
I don't know whether to feel happy about that or not. On one hand, oh, genocide, and the other,
I have more acts.
yes, let's see what happened. Okay, thank you,
Okay.
Fernando. I'm going to share my screen again quickly for Matt's cards. Here we go. So we had a community builder and a countryside farm, the theme of rags to riches, and now we've got to deal with a symbiotic fusion. Woohoo.
Okay, so at this point, take it then. I don't know why, but I preferred that she decide what to do. Screw it. I'm not sharing this with you nor your community. She growled like a cornered animal. She transformed. How could she say this? We had always felt so close to our community. They're small-minded imbeciles. She couldn't really mean this. What got into you? She turned with the bag in her hand and fled. WTF? Just in case it's little ears. Yeah. That's where the story is so far.
I like your accent, short and sweet.
Well, when you're drawing it, you don't have much time. It's like,
Yeah,
this is hitting all the beats. You'd probably want to fill it in with more stuff if you're able to take this.
Yeah, no, that's good suspense to see what happened. Cool. All right, so
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know if I really did this right. I kind of just focused on the vanishing piece, so I'm gonna go with that, I guess, or the what to do in it. And I just was like, you know what, I'm gonna go with the vanishing piece. So here goes. All right. So the next morning, he gets a frantic call from his coach, Jen. My boyfriend went to the clinic at noon to get his vaccine and was supposed to be home after 30 minutes, but hadn't been heard from in hours. Not sure what to make of it. Jason decides to call his friends one by one who are close to Jen and her boyfriend. All of his calls go straight to voicemail. Odd, he thinks. This usually never happens. It's 2022 and everyone are on their phones. Oh well, something to think about later. Scarfing down to breakfast, he cleans up and gets ready for work. And as he leaves his home, he notices that the usually busy main street is completely quiet other than a few disheveled people walking about. The end of that. So again, focusing this on the vanishing piece, but I don't really know. I mean, I didn't really understand like how to do the, new challenges or adversaries.
But like it sounds like society's disappeared except for a few.
In that respect, yes. Yeah. I literally took it literally. So I'm like, okay.
That's kind of cool though.
well, we're still in the rising action. I think when we get to Act 3, it's going to be the ultimate tension, and then we'll go for resolution. All right, cool. All right, Fernando, ready for Act 3? That was inspiring. It's always surprising and delightful to see where the player's imagination goes when given a new random element card to weave into the plot under time pressure. As you heard, sometimes it feels like a challenge at first, but ends up feeling like the new element was always meant to be there.
Just like the plot line of these stories, the Plot Weaver platform is expanding and growing, always getting better with the players' feedback and the lessons we learn along the way. If you want to keep up with the story of Plot Weaver Cards of Creation, consider joining the early access mailing list to get first notice of product launches, new features, promotions, and ways to participate in the upcoming Play and Ponder sessions. These are hosted live storytelling circles you can join from anywhere in the world. You'll find the early access mailing list on www.plotweavergame.com. Now, let's dive into Act 3 and find out what cards are drawn next. Tension or conflict. So, what to do in this act? We describe events where the protagonist confronts the peak of tension with major obstacles or conflicts and experiences their limitations or pushes beyond them. So, Emily, we have to confront managing chaos, embark on a wild adventure through stormy seas of chaos and mayhem, aiming to restore peace to a topsy-turvy world. Okay, Nando, you have time-related pressures. Experience characters facing time pressures, deadlines, and mortality in a story. And for me, I have fear. Plunge into the depths of terror and apprehension as characters confront their deepest anxieties and confrontations. And Yvonne, you have alien encounters, delve into encounters with extraterrestrial beings, and cosmic enigmas that surpass human understanding. Okay, so 10 minutes and go. This is where we started the timer and going to return. Another short pause before the revelation of the next act. You've heard 2 acts of 4 very different stories, all built from a handful of random story elements. Here's something to think about before we move on. What moment surprised you the most so far? And what do you think happens when you think creatively within a bit of structure guiding you? Hold on to those thoughts. Act 3 reading is next. How's everyone doing?
Good.
We are at the conflict, height of tension.
Emily, last you were under the doppelganger's influence and now you're managing some chaos.
Yes, and it was sort of already chaotic. And so this is the not necessarily managing, but the aftermath maybe, or like how to navigate the chaos that ensued. I looked at my creation. I laid down beside it. My thoughts raced as fast as my blood, and I could feel my heart beat in my stomach. I couldn't cry. My body froze, partially hoping they would come back to destroy me too. I could not have stayed there, but I could not have gone too far. Hauling all of this equipment was too much, so as I slowly took it up from the valley over the years. I was ready and expecting them to come and look for me the first 3 months, and they never did. Why 3 years later? They were planning. It was disgusting and also aligned with their ethos, predictable in a twisted way, and I should have seen it coming. After what felt like hours, I reached over and grabbed the one piece that was intact, and the glass didn't break. Holding it in my hands and turning it around, I finally started to cry, realizing I would never have had the ability to harness the amount of energy that it really needed. My world collapsed. But then I realized that my world was still far better than it was having lived there.
That's deep.
Very mysterious, yours.
Yeah, I like it. Okay, Fernando, last we met, you had a character transformation. Now you're undergoing some time-related pressures.
Yeah. So, boss partner was taking him out of the simulation because they had some place to be. They had an event to go, and that event was related to they were signing up an agreement with a giant company that was going to be buying their technology and their IP to be able to market that to the whole world and to share that with everyone. The technology that Bob wasn't sure if it was something that he wanted to unleash that way. So he went with his friend. They went through the crowd, the mob of reporters and protesters to the event. It was a really in a theater. It was a joint venture with the U.S. Department of State, the Chinese diplomatic offices, and the company's representatives. It was to be a ceremony for the sale because it was something that took a while to arrange because there are some state secrets involved, some stuff related to national security that they had to iron out. And so it was the event of the year. Everyone was there. It was being televised. People were watching that on social media. And the expectation was something that you could feel in the air. And after they reached the venue, it was in 3 hours. The Chinese corporation that's called Tianlong is one of the 4 main dragons in Chinese mythology. That corporation, in 3 hours, they would have access to everything that he owned. And he still wasn't sure because actually in his suit's pocket, he had the real kill switch. And he was still thinking, I am going to do this. Should I do that or should I not do it? So he couldn't really interact with anyone. He was in his head the whole time and he was acting strange. People asking, what's happened to you? Aren't you happy? Isn't this the combination of everything that your life's work? People were thinking that he was acting actually really strange. And so some people from the Chinese delegation, some security people started to kind of encourage him to try to secure they thought that maybe their investment could be at risk. And let's leave it at that.
The stakes can't be higher.
That's a big head that needs to wear that. Yeah. Okay, so I've got fear next. It's 5 hours later. So like his partner's left. It's 5 hours later. Car dries up the lane. Not a car from this state. What? Why did that just happen? Like he's really confused. He's very confused. And these guys come out, they're like, hey, where's the bag? Couple of other towners probably lost. Where's the bag, hayseed? The passenger yells. Look, I don't know. Ah, crap. I tried to BS them. They didn't buy it. So I ran as fast as I could. I could taste the blood from my lungs. And he thought I need to jog more. Because that's probably like what you would feel actually. And that's just you. I really need to get my cardio better. And they were on his tail. I mean, he's freaked and stuff. And then all of a sudden, he sees his partner in the road with the bag. So that's where we're at so far.
Suspense.
It's the tell us suspense. Yeah, it seems like a Fargo episode or something. Yeah. Hey, Yvonne. Let's see. We had a vanishing act going into alien encounters.
All right. He usually takes a bus to head to work. And after waiting for 30 minutes at the bus stop, to no avail, he decides to get an Uber instead. But nothing. He opens the app. There are no cars about. What's going on, he thinks to himself. So he attempts to call the clink to let the front desk know that he's going to be a little bit late. Buses and taxis aren't picking him up. They're not responding. But yet again, no answer. And then all of a sudden, a series of loud beeps and vibrations. It's an Amber Alert. Stay indoors and shelter. Don't leave until further instruction. Do not take the vaccine, in all caps. Oh, shit, he exclaims. Is everyone missing because they took the vaccine? That's right. We decided to thin the herd and remove the sheep, just like he wanted, he hears inside his head. But wait, it isn't his voice. It was higher pitched and ominous sounding. The end.
Oh my god.
Okay,
I love how
now
timely these stories are.
good.
Like it's how transformative, like technology and vaccine. That's cool. We're getting closer to the last act where the stories reach the climax and resolution. First, we'll hear the last card draw a random object card to help storytellers bring their circular story back to the beginning and restore balance in their world. Then we'll hear everyone narrating their last act. Let's see how everyone pulls it off and brings it home.
We are going into the climax and resolution. So what to do in this act? Describe events where the protagonist experiences the climax with a decisive confrontation or turning point, resolves the conflict that had been building up, and connects back to the story's beginning, creating a sense of closure. So, Emily, we've got an object card, and you have a time-traveling device that allows for time travel or changing events.
All right. I was trying the whole story to make one.
Oh, there you go. So that works out pretty good. Fernando, this is going to get interesting because I think your character could use one of these. It's a celestial map. It guides the characters through astral pathways or cosmic realms to reach distant destinations. And for me, I have an ornate compass that guides characters towards their destination, pointing the way to significant locations or goals. And then finally, Yvonne, we have for you Stormcaller's staff. It commands the elements summoning storms or controlling weather patterns.
That's a twist.
You know, the old weather changing things. Okay, and we're gonna set a timer for 10 minutes. 3, 2, 1. Bing, 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 bing. So last we saw Emily managing chaos. She seemed to be getting somewhere. And then all of a sudden now she's been thrown the key to the time traveling device that she's been working on for I don't know if it's a key, but you've gotten somewhere with your time travelers.
All right. I stood up. I managed to pull my body slowly from the ground and made peace with the fact that my world was gone again. I looked down and saw one part of this invention glowing. When they broke the machine, some of the chemicals spilled out and created what looked like a glowing ring. I have no idea why, but the ring, the size of a mountain bike, splayed out on the ground, called to me. Amidst the destruction, there was something artful and beautiful about it. The glow radiated like the aurora borealis, surreal but comforting in a strange way. I stepped into the ring and fell into bed. I jolted like when you have dreams of falling out of a tree, but it was no dream. It was morning, and my mother yelled from the kitchen that I better be packed before the trial, because the decision was obvious. If I didn't leave within an hour after the decision was made, there would be far worse challenges facing me. I hopped up, looked around, and grabbed my bag full of items, but also the last piece of the machine that I needed to make. I had a moment thinking, yes, I have another chance to make this work, and I knew that I would have less than 3 years to do it before they came. I could just work harder. I had a second chance. The trial was over and I started hiking. This was a visceral déjà vu experience, as I know, but perhaps no one else knows that I had done this before. As I reached the peak, I turned over the rocks and crevices where I hid parts of the machine. However, this time I paused, slowly laid down and looked at the sky. I decided to truly find freedom and leave. The sun was beating down on her back, but she kept on going. I tried to use the same sentence as I did in the beginning to try to make it
Right. So hold on. What was the trial about?
So she was initially in this kind of like culty community.
Yeah. And
She
she
was
ran away.
following the rules. Exactly. So they kicked her out. And so when her machine broke, it created sort of like a time traveling thing. Back to the day of the trial.
This time she has another chance, right?
Exactly. And this time she decided not to try to fix like her, continue to obsess over her machine that would allow her freedom. She just left.
Okay, that's cool. She decided to take a different path. So it's kind of like a karma thing, learning from
Maybe. Yeah.
and getting another chance. That's cool. Okay, Fernando, with your celestial map.
Yeah, that was hard. Then this is something that I like to know, because instead of a celestial map or something, I added something like a celestial event.
Okay.
Sure. Work.
Costco? Yeah.
Yeah, why not? No, it's whatever works for you.
So before he was at the ceremony for the sign of the tail, and then I decided to write. So it was like this. He was feeling anxious and pressure and not really well. And then it was like he needed to breathe. He was feeling anxious, nauseous. In the middle of a conversation with the Chinese representative, he simply left and went to the balcony side in the middle of the conversation. It was a really clear night and he could see the stars. And there was kind of the same stars that he remembered that he used to look at with her when they were at the top of his towers, sharing those silent moments that they had with each other. And there was a special night when they saw a shooting star going over their heads. Beautiful, huge one, that it was the moment that they felt they really connected. That started everything. And that made him remember everything about her, like her voice, her eyes, like the way she talked, and created this whole memory was flooding him, and it was too much. He was beginning to feel numb, to feel out of place, and he started to breathe really slowly and deeply to try to calm down. And while he was doing that, he looked again to the sky, and at that moment, another shooting star, just like the one that he saw that time, went over his head, exactly the same. And that kind of, he couldn't believe it. And suddenly he started to smile and laugh. And he simply pressed the kill switch.
Oh no.
Wire to ball?
Yes. At that moment, when he saw the shooting star, he decided it was like a sign,
Mm.
and he pressed it. And when he pressed it for a second, he thought that he could sense her perfume.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And then he came back to the party smiling. His partner was, oh good, oh good. He was so good. Everything's all right now. And that was it.
Awesome.
Just something that the kill switch was going to take a while to act.
Yeah. And he
So-
goes through that repetition of thoughts and kind of trying to understand this. That's awesome.
Way to go, Bob. Way to go. I like how Bob really kind of brought it back together. That was good.
Thank you.
I didn't like Bob at first, but like I really like Bob by
He was an asshole, actually.
he kind of has a humanity to him.
Yeah, it's the gray area.
Yeah.
I appreciate the juxtaposition between the like ephemeral and meaning making worlds and the smell of perfume and the versus this very technological space. That was well done.
Yeah. So all those senses help him also make that decision, right?
Yeah.
This
Because
is
what-
real.
Yeah, what I want to say is that he was finally becoming human.
Mm.
Where the senses coming, the senses and the visual and everything, the emotions taking, really guiding him.
So I thought my heart is going to burst. I was pumping blood. My partner released the bag and they laughed. What the hell? How did you find me? She brought out this old compass and this old compass your dad gave me led me to you. As we walked back in silence, we passed the spot where this all began, where he found the bag. But could we ever be the same? Why did she change? She couldn't say. We'll only wait to see if the urge ever returns.
Oh.
So it kind of brings it back to the beginning. I kind of really went loose with the compass. Like it's an ornate compass, but like I figured, grandpappies are always good for that, or like dads or something, like they got, it's this thing, and it just works. It's a good.
Yeah. This could be a good pilot for a series of
Yeah, a bad X-Files episode or something. Like this is like the beginning of it before like Mulder and Scully show up. It's like
she's possessed by some alien spirits.
it's some kind of greedy alien spirit.
Couldn't say why.
No, she got that bag of money and she just became a bitch.
Sorry.
It's I got the Mulder's staff.
Yeah. Okay. So in this one, okay. So it continues to the last bit. But what about my parents, my family, my friends? All gone. They were sheep as well. Remember how much you despise them? Yes, but I don't actually want 95% of the population to disappear. I was finding it hard to find a girlfriend. Then, how am I going to find one now? Well, you have a choice, Jason. As you can see in your hand, I provided you with what our species calls the storm call stuff. Summoning a single storm on the 1st, 3rd, 5th, 8th, and 13th day of the upcoming month at exactly 4:20 p.m. will undo what we have done by reintroducing the cosmic and atmospheric elements back to their human form, and will return human civilization to what it was like before. To Jason, the decision was clear. Like all big decisions he had made before, it was time to take a nap. I'd say I kind of got a little silly. I don't know.
That's cool.
So now we move to the moments of reflection. So we'll all kind of go through it. So let's take a moment and bring out like what stood out, aspects of the stories, moments of like your own storytelling experience. This is the most likely story to, yeah, exactly, to be made into a film, to be made into that. So Emily, I want to say that the visuals in your story were incredible. Like I could see them. It's kind of like, actually, we've played, or I've seen you play this before, and every time you have played the most beautiful, these characters that just feel like they should be done in watercolor and they should almost be ethereal in some ways. Very beautiful and very, like, I almost think of like watercolor and paper cutouts as ways to like make them into like these kind of almost abstract representatives of animation. Anyways, that's where my mind goes with yours. It's pretty cool. I love it. It's poetry almost, like.
Good at remembering all the different sort of elements, but I remember, as you were going through it, it just really felt like a good, honestly felt like, can't believe you wrote that in like 10 minutes or 15 minutes. It felt so articulate as a story, and I really enjoyed that. Really, sounded like a story that had a lot of thought and love put into it and care. So that was awesome.
Yeah, I think that for me it was interesting that I could really feel the character. It was really thought out, and even with all the changes that we had with the cards, sometimes it was hard to fit. But I think that the way you make it fit in the story was very seamless to me.
I also appreciated that because you picked the first person, it's very introspective, and we're only in one character's mind, and so it adds to the mystery of what are all those other characters, and we only have access to one. That was pretty cool. That added to that whole world of chaos that you were trying to describe. That was good.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a good reminder in the first act. I feel like my mind went to like what the whole story would be, but then I had to like pause and not think too far because I know there would be twists and weird elements. And so it's a fun I don't know, I appreciate that. I feel like you want to like have some conclusive, or you want to like try to have a full thing, but it's fun to just like know that you have to stop and you can't really plan.
It's true.
Yeah.
That's a tendency. We wanna, like
Mhm.
Fernando at the beginning was like, mine is not finished. That's the point. It should be unfinished.
Speaking of Fernando,
Yes.
your story was like wonderfully strange and bizarre. Like I love this character, Bob. I actually, for some reason, I also want to see the prequel, or I want to see like a frame tale where we could go back to see like Bob's, what brought Bob to that point, because like I have so many like questions about this Bob character and where he came from and like everything. Like, yeah, I do see this as being like a novella, maybe, or even like possibly a novel where you could like
Just some flashbacks.
yeah, with flashbacks coming back and forth, and maybe the whole thing takes place during that moment, but like over the span of like that hour or whatever it's telling you the story of how it got there. Like I could see it being fleshed out so much more.
Yeah, at first it was supposed to be a little bit more part of that, but then I had to choose.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No, I could tell that there's a lot you could build off the story. So I really enjoyed it. It was an interesting world too. Like it felt like something that could exist, but almost like an alternative reality. Like it's
Yeah, let us say 10 years from now.
yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah.
Where they have to decide whether to kill the what do we call it? Is a computer that has reached singularity, or right that. Should I those are the decisions that people will be making. It's true. Yeah, I
So,
also really like the depth of the story, that there's so many layers that are there to discover. I also loved the fact that this person who is all into tech and at the height of thinking about technological stuff is also such a emotional and deep kind of connected person. And that also, of course, being the reason behind the creation of this technology, but also the fact that he doesn't fit into the stereotype of a tech giant person that we see these days. It was refreshing to see one of these guys being a little bit more on the human side. You know?
Yeah.
I mean, he was humanized through the story, but yeah, I really appreciated that.
Thank you.
Yeah, as I mentioned before too, just that juxtaposition. And I appreciated there was like a thread of like longing that I felt, which felt visceral, like I could feel it, and moments of like longing for connection or longing for an answer or longing for that.
Yeah, I think that was actually the starting point. I wanted to go deeper on that one, but I think that the way it is set up is so nice because you force yourself to follow a path, and it doesn't let you. This is something that I like about the game itself. It doesn't let you to dwell too much. It helps you to move along.
Yeah, well, that's a good
Because the thing is easy, okay, you created a story. This is an impression that I have about overall the game itself. You created something, and then you can change whatever you want. Oh, this doesn't feel right, this doesn't feel, but then you have this whole story already kind of set up, and then you change whatever doesn't work. You don't get caught up in small stuff that maybe are going to be holding you back. You do something, you complete something.
Yeah. Yay. That comment makes me so happy. Yvonne, do you have anything to say about no pressure, just
Not really thinking of anything right now. I just again, memory. I feel like I need to read these stories more.
Yeah.
Here I'm not very good at like the auditory retention. I don't think storytelling. I have to like see and read it. But yeah. So.
all right.
Still don't love it.
No, that's a good point. Like in a room, we would have all these cards in front of us, and we could kind of remember. That's one of the things that comes up. That it's hard to keep track of 4 stories at the same time. While
Well, I also
your own.
think if it's with people and like you're comfortable around, and it's not like we've got this time box, which we've kind of gone over a little bit.
Yeah.
But if in kind of a recreational type thing, you'd be able to ask each other questions about it during the act. And there's a lot of other ways that you could kind of build off of it to kind of have that retention. But I also think that I find it interesting you bring that up, Yvonne, because it actually has made me kind of push to be a better active listener. Because the more times I've actually played this, the more times I'm like, no, I want to concentrate on what each story is, because it becomes almost the kind of challenge of the game, which is good because it's active listening. And
Yeah,
works right.
sure.
Nice.
Yeah, I think it really comes down to these sort of things. Like, even like when I was listening to podcasts or whatnot, I have to I have to go on my phone to write notes. If not, I just don't remember it, So I thought like for the sub, I'd jot more notes. I think in the future to remember certain things that really find my eye
Or is mine, and then Yvonne's. So
I so appreciate the visual aspects. It like makes my brain do such a different thing, I think, versus listening to the story, but visually seeing it. And I feel like it requires fewer words, but your mind sort of attaches to the image and makes it full, in a way. So I really appreciated that. Um, yeah. Yeah, I think that was the main thing, and I think it was a fun. I liked your story to me felt very full circle, where you like literally was coming back to that phase, so I think you really connected the pieces to that circular the theme. So I thought that was cool too.
Like if I do this again, I'm definitely going to take that approach. I think and do that storyboard as well, because I'm trying to struggle to find the right words as I'm going through my story and everything. And I think that when you have a picture as well, you can kind of give sort of a general sort of sense of what the setting or scene is about in each box. It's like, yeah, as we said, you can kind of fill it in as well a little bit and maybe even embellish it a bit too, getting based off of what your kind of prompt or what you said was. So yeah, I like that a lot.
I like to do about the storyboards, it's because you don't concentrate too much on the descriptions. You can kind of just, what is the beats of the story going to be?
Totally.
And then like, if I ever want to, I can come back and fill it in. I've got that kind of, that memory of at least those kind of frames. And then
What I was thinking design too, I think, yeah, it's sort of like a lo-fi approach in a way, I guess. Because I'm committing to the words of my version a bit more and I'm spending too much time on it, but like what matters is like what you're doing, the context setting and what's going on, I think, right there. So
Yeah, I've tried both, and I personally, the first time I used it, I didn't like that I have to draw, because the first time we played it, storyboard was actually part of the game, like you had to use it, and I was not sure about it, but it really does help for you know, I also kind of obsess about words, and you know, the description has to be perfect, but what I see, if I can just sketch, and people will be able to see that, and I have to describe everything I see. So yeah. So there's got to be a next time, Yvonne. That's good. I like the. You're facing some of the challenges of the things that we've had before. So at least to me, this shows me that you can get better at plot weaver. So yay! I have become better in this, and I used to miss stories, and now I force myself to pay attention at moments when people are telling their story. Awesome.
And then we just have Yvonne's story. I want to say, Yvonne, your story, this is the weirdest Twilight Zone type episode. I actually want to see this as an anthology show, and I want to see it kind of comical. Like I want to see it as kind of almost irreverent, even low budget a little bit, like, and just kind of all sorts of awesomeness and like very strange characters. I imagine even the people in the street kind of a little almost surreal. I really appreciated the world that it was kind of building, because the message was not taking things for granted. It's like, as much as people piss you off and you feel that misanthropy, it's like people are actually good, and I wouldn't give them up for anything in the world. So I love the turnaround at the end.
Tinder limited.
The end was amazing. It's really good.
I think coming from a clinic, it's funny when I hear like 2020 and vaccines, and you know, and my mind goes to a very like serious, politicized, you know, like and it was actually really refreshing to have sort of the tone or the layers and the weird like alien twist, and you know, it was kind of helpful, because my mind, I think, when I hear that, goes to what it was for me in a clinic space, you know, which was not that. And so I actually really appreciated, I felt more engaged hearing the twists and the kind of almost campy aspect of it.
Yeah, and that the message of be careful what you wish for, kind of thing. You might really have that control one day, you know, have that killer switch like Bob.
Yeah. Bob and his kill switch. That
And the alien helping you eliminate. How many? Who died? The aliens killed everyone who took the vaccine, right?
97%.
yeah,
Oh my
to
God.
reabsorb their nutrients into the, like a Thanos thing, I guess.
Yeah.
Jason really needs the compass though. That was one true love. We like switched twice, hitting it.
Oh yeah, we could have a crossover expansion pack. That's awesome.
Premium access.
Be a way to play the game. Like in Act 3, one character comes in and everyone has to use that character.
Yeah, exactly. Where you
Yeah.
you choose one character from the other stories or something.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Wow. That's a cool way to do it. Well, the game is over now.
That concludes episode 3 of Play and Ponder with Plot Weaver Cards of Creation. Thank you to Emily, Fernando, and Yvonne for their stories, and for the conversations that followed. There's something that Fernando said during the reflection that has stuck with me. that the structure helps you move forward without letting you get stuck. That's exactly what we designed Plotweaver to do, and it's something else entirely to watch it actually work.
If this episode sparked something for you, we'd love to have you join the community. Visit the Plotweaver platform to explore the game, sign up for early access, or find upcoming Play and Ponder sessions. All the links are in the show notes. At ModHub Cooperative, we design tools that help people practice the skills machines can't automate: storytelling, creative imagination, and meaningful connection. Thank you for listening. Keep creating and keep hopping.